time. Thanks to the resub, McSweaty. Tough. It just keeps crashing. Thanks to Prime Dog, man. I don't get it. The internet didn't even cut out. Sad. Thanks to the Prime Blosh and the resub Blogian. And the Prime Mans. And the Bits Gaming. You in Australia? It fucking feels like it, man. It feels like I'm in a different country. This place is crazy. They just have like actual wild kangaroo, zebra, giraffes, rhino, and everything all on property. The property is 28 square miles. It's fucking crazy. Is it tier 1 engraving? There's these massive like hills here, like mountains basically. And when you go to the top of them and look out, everything you see, as far as the eye can see, is this place's property. It's crazy. He's a tier 1 Bob. Yeah, I'm gonna wait a minute for stream to get back since it just crashed. Thanks, Resub Nelson. The bits, whoa. The latest Patrick CC video? Yeah, perhaps. He's a Prime MLG. Crashed 2 days in a row. 3 actually. It just, I don't know, man. I think streaming via Wi-Fi just is, it's gonna do that. There's nothing I can really do there. Things are so blinded. Which is why tomorrow I might be able to like actually stream a game because I'll be able to Ethernet in. There's no Ethernet here, but at the next place we go there will be. Thanks to Prime stream, shit stream, and maybe Mac. Can we do some spooky stuff tonight? Sure. Hey, I'm glad you like it, Jellybean. Hey, no, I would play Overwatch 2 if I could, man. Internet's not good enough here to actually play it. But tomorrow, maybe. These are tier 1 Sin Ludes. Not missing out on much, it's the same game. Yeah, I noticed.
I just said thank you 50,000 times. Don't believe me? Why don't you play that back at 0.00001 speed? Thank you truly though for 50k subs. It's pretty awesome.
That's
now
big.
enough of us
Congrats,
to battle head on
Gunner.
against the entire
Nice.
population of Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Gunner's
They had that
killing
one
it.
coming. But if you guys want to win the war, we're gonna need to pump up those numbers. So be sure to subscribe to officially join the
Thanks for
Gunner TV
Squirt
draft
and Nikki.
against the state of New Jersey. Content houses, the lucrative business model of the 21st century that promises aspiring teenage influencers fame and success with just one trade-off. You have to live in a giant fucking mansion and make TikToks. At least that's what it looks like on the surface. Silly spoiled children and your silly spoiled dreams. I'm a grown-up that has to worry about grown-up things, like setting up the Wi-Fi. Or complaining about gas prices. They're pretty high, aren't they? However, this shady business goes deeper than one might expect, with the same industry players causing problems time and time again for everyone involved, often ending in a house's ultimate demise. Today we're answering the question, why do all content houses fail? Or at least most of them. I wasn't going to get your attention by titling the video, why do 98% of content houses
They all
fail?
fail, though. I can't think of any that
back
happened.
off. Just, not off the video. Keep watching.
In the world of social media.
I'm going to speculate before Gunnar gives us this scientific explanation. I think the reason the content houses fail is because the influencers living there eventually just get tired of being around each other and move out, and it fizzles out. A slow bleed. The Sidemen survived? Yeah, true. Okay, fair. But that's more of like a content group, not just like a central content house, I would argue. I'd say Sidemen transcend just a house. Same with OTK. Again, OTK is more than just a house. They are like a full group. Like, I wouldn't ever say those are content houses. They're just content teams. When I think of content house, I think of like Hype House, Team... Was it Team 7? Or was that the group that made Worms? What was Jake Paul's group called? Team what? Team what? Team 10. Yeah. Team 10. Cloud House. What was that really fucking stinky TikTok one that wasn't the Hype House? It was the other one. That was like the Bryce Hall group or some shit. What were they? They had like a whole reality show. Sway? Was it Sway House? I don't remember. But yeah, I think the reason all that shit fails is just egos clashing and they eventually just get tired of being around each other. Even though I feel like it's super easy if you just make like, 2 TikToks a day, which is, 60 seconds of work? Then just enjoy your mansion and your friends. He's a tier 1 Zhao Zhao and the resub star. And the prime Cadox and Sleeth.
It's called a collab house. Residents say parties at this house behind me are a daily occurrence.
It's about to be a f***ing movie. Hey,
let's go.
TikTok kids down the street.
A whole bunch of people inside the house. Can you make sure they all do NDAs?
If there was a complaint about you, what would their complaint be?
People would say I'm an asshole.
Basically are saying take it until, a tragedy happens, which is going to happen here.
Well, that guy was wrong. Still no tragedies. Except for the fact that they still exist, I guess.
A little trailer action. I've never done that one before. I'm personally fired up. And me right now, I haven't even made the video yet. I hope Future Gunner delivers on that shit.
Fucking trying, man.
The idea of content houses is nothing new. Just look at Team 10, Hype House, Sway House, Clubhouse Europe, Clubhouse for the boys. Why there's so many goddamn clubhouses. But what do most of these collaborative houses have in common? They don't exist anymore, except for whatever Frankenstein combination of 15-year-olds they try to insert to make the Hype House stay relevant. The rest have all but vanished. Hell, Clubhouse is just straight up a porn website now. While the concept seems to do a good job at launching people's solo online careers, it equally does a good job of burning to the ground whatever collective house brand name they've come up with. The Sway House, unfortunately, launched and still tries to sell Sway pre-workout products as if the house is still running. Boys, I hate to break it to you, but I don't think people are going to buy from a brand that's based on you guys living together when you guys don't live together. Also, your fan base are little girls.
They're definitely still buying.
Energy bars sheesh, so maybe it was always doomed. I wanted to find out why exactly is it the case that these houses have an average lifespan of 4 months when every lease I've signed is at least a year. So today we're going to be taking a look at the untold, now told story of the Drip Crib, a content house you probably never and ever wanted to hear about. I sat down with one of its original members, Tyler Pauly, an ex-TikToker, because that's apparently a profession we can retire from now. And he was willing to talk about his experience in the house and the mismanagement that he witnessed firsthand living there. For the purposes of this video, I'll often be clipping in moments from this interview to give context to issues I'll be talking about. If you want to watch the full interview, it'll be in my Patreon, link in bio for all member tiers. It's actually very interesting. We go way more in depth than we even do in this video, and Tyler does a tell-all, so go check it out. With that said, let's meet Tyler Pauly.
Tyler, thank you for coming today. It's an honor to have you. Oh my God, who put that there? How did that? I'm so sorry.
I don't see anyone else here.
It wasn't me. That's really embarrassing. I hope we can get.
Don't feel embarrassed. Don't feel embarrassed.
He looks like Machine Gun Kelly.
We'll move forward.
But
like, bump in the road.
You were one of the founding members of the Drip Crib.
One of the OGs, yeah.
You had left before shit kind of hit the fan.
Yeah, shit hit the fan pretty crazy and pretty badly from what I heard as I left in terms of the parties, the trash, the neighbors. I left before that. Way before that.
Also, real quick, question in the chat. I noticed this tattoo on a bunch of dudes these days. I actually think it's a pretty cool tattoo, but what does it mean? Why do so many dudes get this forearm tattoo that's just like a dark tree? What is it? Where did that come from? I first started noticing it like 5 years ago, and it's still getting just more and more popular. Cock veins, I guess? Veiny cock. Cock vein. Well, like, so it started because of cock veins? That's how it got popular? I mean, I know it's a tree and shit. Like, I'm not confused at what I'm looking at. I'm just wondering, like, why, who made it popular? No one in particular, just an Instagram thing? Is it not lightning? No, it's a tree. I've seen this exact design on a bunch of dudes' forearms over the last 5 years. It's a pretty common one. Usually it goes from the wrist up, but I've seen this too. The earned tree. It was the tree from Elden Ring. Well, it existed before the Elden Ring. But it does look fine. Like, I actually think it's a cool design. I was just wondering.
Way before that.
Thanks for resub, Brian, Big Toe, Mac, and Skylar, and Puminator, Monkey,
One thing
and
that might
Jello.
seem immediately obvious, but is a huge cause for concern, is that most of the people living in these houses are either teenagers or in their young 20s. For most of them, this is the first time they're living without their parents in a frat house-like environment, minus the college schedule to keep them on track.
There's no one telling kids, like, yeah, there's like ground rules, but my household raised me differently from others' households. So it's like, it's a huge equation for disaster because it's just a bunch of us young, reckless kids living in a nice house, doing all this cool shit.
You made it to LA,
pretty
kid.
cool.
This is your moment. It's time to shine. Let's ruin the neighbor's day.
Jeff and his wife live directly next door and say night and day they're dealing with large gatherings, loud pool parties, and non-permitted film shoots. Cars constantly speed up and down outside their home, and their Nest Cam captures the parties spilling into the street, partygoers drinking, getting intimate, and even defecating.
The girl who squats in the street starts to pee, so that's always good.
Well, that's not defecating, that's urinating. What kind of fucking clickbait is this? The news lady said defecating. That means fucking shitting, not tinkling. I hate false advertising. Unbelievable.
Aw, here goes Boomer Gunner again with his moral superiority complex, finger wagging these kids as
Amber
if he's
Heard
never
showed
partied
up.
before.
True.
And
Dropped a little
I'm
Amber
cool.
turd.
I used to publicly defecate all the time. They used to call me the urinator back in high school. I would just start peeing everywhere, all over. They couldn't stop me. So I get it. A little social gathering here or there is no problem. But this is influencers we're talking about, where a party isn't just a party, it's content. So let's do it as much as humanly possible.
And then they had a party literally for 9 consecutive nights that went from 10:30 to literally 7:38 in the morning.
This could have all been avoided if they just invited that guy. Seems like he wanted to go.
Morning, she finds used condoms outside her house.
Okay, even my empathetic party self is feeling pretty bad for the neighbors at this point. 9 consecutive nights of partying? Even people that went to both weekends of Coachella are wincing at that. But once again, you
that's a
understand
lot.
the
That's
culture
like
of the
biblical.
content
Like
house
40
is to get
days,
as
40
many
nights of rain.
collaborative TikToks and videos as
But with
possible. So it only
partying.
makes sense that the new house on the block would throw a ton of parties to get those bigger
Easy
names to
tier one
come out
Zenith,
and give them
Prime
that
Average,
juicy
and
clout.
resub
Oh my
Luke
god,
and
is
Rat.
that Ash and Ray at the Drip Crib? These guys seem like pretty legit. I should probably go check them out. The chaos that ensues when a whole house of young TikTokers sees their living space as solely an opportunity to get clout is the downfall of the house itself. They get lazy and entirely neglect everyone and everything else around them. Suddenly, the only important thing in life is social climbing, and letting your place be an environment for that is the quickest route to the top. I want that fame. I need that fame now. Call JG Wentworth, 877 Fame Now.
Everyone just kind of was like, all right, cool, we're here. Now let's relax.
When does the clout come?
Oh yeah, they're like yeah, they're like, all right, when do
Just
I get
living
famous?
together is
You know what I
clout.
mean, they're just like, how does this work? They're like, I can just sit here and I'll get famous.
And with this laid-back attitude, the house started to become a disaster of a mess.
So the house was pretty messy, pretty dirty. We had a lot of people in and out, a bunch of dudes living there. No one wanted to do the dishes. No one wanted to, cook. So there was a lot of just trash bags, fast food bags, like a bunch of that shit piled up.
There's so much trash, noise, and disturbance.
There was no point in
Couldn't they have hired a service to do it?
Nothing was going to change.
Is that what half of these houses do?
What they wanted to do.
At some point after Tyler moved out, the biggest scandal the Drip Crib had was a potential new member who was staying there for a week leaked videos of the built-up trash, some black mold, and most infamously claimed to have gotten rat bites in her sleep while she was there.
When I had stayed with her and the whole Drip Crib crew with my boyfriend at the time, I got bit by rats from their place and had to go home early to Seattle because I was gonna get rat bite fever.
Of course, the house tried to deny these claims for PR's sake, but it didn't help when one Drip Crib member uploaded a TikTok with a dead rat visible in the pool behind it.
When we visited the house, one of the young men seen in the videos came out at one point.
Hey, stunt
when
rat.
asked about the parties, said there had been none, and that, quote, we're just kids.
And I think that statement kind of says it all. They're just kids. They're really, really stupid. The industry of TikTok celebs are all young kids who have never lived on their own and don't really have any structure in their lives. They spent one summer dancing in front of their camera, and now they get to skip college and partied up in LA with other teenagers that did the same. So why did we move into this house again? Is this a business, or do we just throw house parties? If it's just parties, why did I have to sign a contract to legally be a part of Drip Crib? If it's a business, why is my house a huge fucking mess every day and neighbors are petitioning to evict me? Can I please speak to the manager?
Nice.
When talking about these houses, it's important to understand the structure behind them, and they usually have the following entities. You have the actual homeowner and the rental management company that represents them, and then you also have the influencers and the content house manager that represents them. For the Hype House, this is Thomas Petro. For the Clubhouse, this was Daisy Keach. And for the Drip Crib, this was a guy named Devion Young. The sole biggest thing that can bring down a content house is having the wrong person in this position. And oh boy, is Devion Young a case study on being a bad pick. For example, we know that PR is one of the most important jobs this role needs to handle well, especially with a collective of rowdy influencers. So let's see how Devion addressed and responded to those news stories about their neighborhood trying to get them
no doubt.
The neighbor situation. We have a whole bunch of Karens and racist neighbors. They have threatened us with violence, which is on online. The videos are out there. They threatened
Can I see one?
Racist comments. They verbally assaulted us and they physically assaulted us. They've even sprayed water from a water hose at us. So you guys have to do your homework before you guys believe stuff that random people say on the internet.
Right, okay. So interesting strategy here.
Take his word for it.
A
Instead, random person on the internet.
Flip it and blame the neighbors for being mad at you about the continuous parties and actually claim that they physically assaulted you. You know how I can tell he's lying and his neighbors didn't actually assault him is that, remember, this is what they looked like. They're all over 70. If Grandpa and Grandma here were to attack you, you could end their life with a single karate chop. They even
You don't know that. Hold on a second. Let's not be selling Jeff Oken short here. That guy looks like he's seen the birth of the universe. This guy's been around the block. That man could throw some lunchbox hands, no doubt in my goddamn mind. He actually reminds me of my neighbor back when I was a kid. When I was a child, my parents had these neighbors that were fucking crazy. They always dressed in pure white, and they'd go outside in like a white mask and everything to get their mail in the mailbox, and they would only ever leave their house via taxi in the early mornings and come back at the late nights. But it was fucking cool. They looked pretty much like that guy. So that's pretty... It might even be this guy. So that's pretty nostalgic. KKK. No, it wasn't like white hoods. Like, when I say mask, I mean like a half mask. Like what people wore, like still wear out in public. That's what they would wear over their face. Like for dust or something. Because they'd sweep their driveway really often. Yeah, they're fucking wild. That's a cult. It might have been part of a cult, I couldn't tell you, but it looked pretty much just like that.
If Grandpa and Grandma here were to attack you, you could end their life with a single karate chop. They even sprayed water at you from a hose? Oh no. Oh, wow. Oh, that's so terribly violent. I wonder what that looked like.
Sometimes they spray us with water.
Oh, okay. So they hosed you down with the nozzle set to light sun shower drizzle mode. Not exactly the high pressure crowd control hose I was envisioning, but okay. But yeah, no,
it's
just
pretty
call
much
them
the same,
racist
to be
and
honest.
don't show any video proof, but say the videos are definitely out there somewhere online. You know, you can do the research, you can find it. Despite Jeff here seeming quite reasonable.
And we're for them. We want them to get sponsors and make gazillions of dollars,
No.
but we're not for them doing it at everybody's expense.
So who is Devion?
What a nice
What's his
guy.
background? background, and how can we learn from him what a house manager shouldn't be? From what I can gather from his Instagram, he's a hybrid club promoter, music artist, wannabe fitness model, has an OnlyFans, and on top of all that is the owner of Drip Crib.
Respect the Drip Crib and the CEO of it.
And for someone managing a social media content house, he's not very good at social media. All of his pictures are blurry, he's got Snapchat filters on them. He's got this weird post from Thanksgiving where he's offering himself as a boyfriend for rent. The diamond package is only $1,500. He'll come for the whole night, wear an elite fit, and even kiss your forehead. If I had the money, I would have bought that.
Think about the parents.
What a good
the
deal.
Kids
What the fuck? Is he still offering that even outside of Thanksgiving?
They're probably like, yo, there's no way this is who's running this. Definitely like out of the ordinary. It's not your average social media like manager page look.
And hey, albeit from me or Tyler to judge
R14?
anyone who's not that adept at social media, but he's running a goddamn social media content house, so it's a little strange. Outside of that, from what Tyler tells me, Davion was a management nightmare for the house from the very beginning.
You had mentioned before that the house was supposed to be ready at a certain date, and it just wasn't, right?
Yeah, so he was like, you need to be here by this date for the house. Me and my best friend drove in a Honda Civic, like a two-door Honda Civic with a 5x8 U-Haul behind us with both of our bedrooms packed into it. Across the country, last minute notice to make this happen, to be there by this date. We get there and he's like, yeah, the house isn't gonna be ready for like another month. So he slaps us in Studio City, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 5 of us in there. And then we all shared this bathroom for an entire month.
It's never a great sign to be having major house issues before moving into your physical house, so this raised a bit of a red flag for Tyler. Why am I trusting this manager on anything going forward with this big of a screw up already? Well, Tyler would be 18 at the time, still really wanting to make this content house work, and had already paid his first month's rent and security deposit to Davion. Come to think of it, it was probably that last part that was more of a motivating factor to keep going.
This is the contract we signed to be a part of Drip Crib. And it basically stated like, you're gonna pay $2K a month to be a part of this house, and that covers your rent, and within all of that, it's gonna cover PR services, it's gonna cover brand deals. Like, it was just supposed to be like an all-inclusive payment for us.
What do you need as a TikToker for a PR service? On TikTok, you don't even have to like apologize. You just keep posting shit and people will just forget. That's like the least important position imaginable, I think. Damn, these guys just got hosed. Davion was squeezing them. Thanks to the Prime Paradox and the resub. Jira and Meat.
For us to grow as like an influencer. And we expect we're moving into a house and we each all have our own bedroom. Technically speaking, there's 3 actual bedrooms in the house. We get there to find out that we have to share bedrooms. After the fact that we signed the contract, after we get there, after we gave him our first $2 grand, everything, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, we were big butt hurt.
Hear that out loud again. They all already spent $2,000 on the assumption that they were going to be getting their own rooms just to show up, have Davion take the master suite, and put the rest of them in shared rooms and closets. This is a good first example of how managers try to lock influencers into contracts with no promise of delivery.
So part of that contract with you paying rent, $2K a month, is that he's going to bring you brand deals.
Bring us brand deals, PR, all that crazy stuff.
What was the delivery on the brand deals?
Nothing.
Hey, so you weren't happy? What?
I didn't make $1 from him.
Man, what the fuck?
$8 grand or so that I sent to him for rent, down the drain. I kind of cracked down on Davion and I had a conversation with him and I was like, yo, like if you can't do a simple like task of bringing me a couple $100s worth of a brand deal in this month, I was like, I'm not going to be able to pay you rent for next month. And he literally looks at me, eye contact, he's like, I don't know what to tell you. And I was like, all right.
So put yourself in Tyler's Gucci flip-flops for a second. You rushed out to LA just to share a...
Damn. So people will literally just give money to a complete stranger like that under the pretense that they're gonna get clout. Because Davion doesn't even have like a strong following based on the pictures Gunner pulled up. Man just like said, hey, give me $2 grand a month and I'll bring you fucking Heelys laser beams from your eyes and you'll work with Coca-Cola. And then he just buys a mansion with it to live in for himself. Pretty interesting scam. Thanks to the resub, Kitty. Kids do? Yeah, I guess. I guess that's just like the TikTok crowd. So he was getting $2 grand a month from all 5 of them. That's not pennies.
studio apartment with 5 guys you just met, and now you're getting fucked over with expensive rent just
He
to
didn't buy
not
the
have
man, or
your
he
own
rented the
room
mansion,
and no brand
obviously.
deals to even pay for it. The contract said you'd be provided brand deals, but it didn't stipulate just how many Devion actually had to secure. However, I would have hoped that number would be higher than 0. To be fair to Devion, he did get the boys into a Blueface NLE music video.
Oh,
you can
really?
see Tyler doing his little dancey dance back there. But this wasn't a paid deal and was the only thing that Tyler got out of his manager for the entire 4 months they worked together. The issue with Devion's house management comes down to this. The incentives for him as manager did not line up with the same incentives as those of the Drip Crib members. Sure, he'll get a cut of the brand deals he supplies them, but there's not too much incentive there for that. The house members are already covering rent for him to live in a mansion for free, and he's got a club music promoting fitness OnlyFans career to focus on.
How I assumed that his goal, or like how I could like read that his goal was to utilize this for his music benefit, also his promoting benefit.
Tyler firmly believes that Devion put the whole house together in the first place to have them help promote his music career and other
Did it
endeavors,
work?
and not so much caring about the brand deals, which by the way is totally okay. Just don't make them all sign contracts promising to be anything more than a roommate that just happens to be responsible for collecting rent. However,
let's see. Did that strategy work? So he got some money, but did he suckle from the coveted titty of clout? What was his name? Hold on. Gunner brought it up a second ago. Let me see. Not his OnlyFans. I want to see his music. Where was it? Is it here? Yeah, no. His name's Devion, but what was his, like, artist name? Because I don't think if I type in Devion, I'll just find his music. Where was it? There it is. D3VION. Okay. Come inside. Devion Slow. That's probably not it. There's a Prime Vigilante and the resub Barnes and the Prime John. Wrong one. What's his... So, maybe his artist name isn't Devion. Owner of Drip Crib, Dime Group Music. What the fuck? Can someone tell me what it is then? I don't really feel like going on Insta... I'll just go on Instagram. I don't even know why I'm asking. I'll just go on Instagram. Give me 1 second. Okay. Alright. Well, this isn't him. No, what the fuck is his Instagram? Did he change it? It's Big Lurch. Okay, I'll just take your word for it. Let me see. Big Lurch. This is him? The price of being famous, the Big Lurch story. I don't think this is right. This guy looks so much older. The rapper who ate his roommate. God damn it, I knew I recognized this name. This is the fucking guy that ate his roommate. I already looked him up. Like a long time ago. It's actually a fuck story though, not gonna lie. I am Devion on Insta. Oh, hold on. Alright, he's not even verified on Instagram. Big Mansion album release party in LA. Swipe for more info. Just dropped my debut major album, or major EP prelude to my album. It's got 100,000 streams in 12 hours. Link in the bio. Okay. I'm assuming it's on like his website, iamdevion.com. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Okay, so we'll go to iamdevion. Oh, and just in case I type that in wrong and get something not optimal for stream. Oh, so he doesn't even post this on YouTube. Alright, let me see on Spotify. His biggest song has 500k streams. That's pretty good. It's Ice Gang. So the scamming, I guess, helped? I don't know, man. I can't tell. Probably not. He's got 3 albums, though. What about Tunnel Vision 3? He has 8,000 monthly listeners. That's pretty good, I guess. He scammed a bunch of young TikTokers and got 8,000 listeners. Amazing. Play it? No, I don't want to play it. This is the kind of guy that would absolutely try and get, like, DMCA out here. No shot. Looks botted to me. Yeah, so one way that I think you can tell that it's botted is this song has 3,000 views, or listens, compared to all of these. Oh, wait, these are different albums. Oh, I thought this... Oh. Oh, maybe it's not botted, because this is 2017. This is even older. Oh my god, he's putting out music all the time. Thanks for 5 gift subs, Morph. Thank you, Morph. Alright. Big scam for 8,000 viewers. Congrats. Or listeners. Thanks for gift sub, Tango and the resub Buff and Ismail. Diddy Mac, is it new or old? And thanks to Resub Madness.
Collecting rent part appeared to maybe actually be a lie as well. No one really knows what happened to the rent, but the landlord ended up suing Devion and many of the other members after Tyler had moved out for not paying any rent past the first month. This was confirmed by Devion himself in a Business Insider article, which was no doubt bad press for the house.
So you guys need to do your homework before you guys believe stuff that random people say on the internet.
Maybe it's time we bring in someone more professional.
He's a tier 1 hero.
Okay, so stay with me here. While Devion Young is a house manager, early on he realized he needed some help and brought in what's called a talent agent. Her name is Ariana Jacob, and she owned a company called Influences. This company no longer exists.
Damn, what a name.
You get it? Was it Fly? Fuck. I did get it. Oh, nice. Now, a talent agency is the head honcho. They basically manage the connections between the influencers and the brands they work with. Basically what Devion said he was going to do for the Drip Crib members. Typically, they work on an individual level with a client, but these content houses were an opportunity that simply couldn't be ignored. What if I could get all of these idiots signed underneath my agency collectively? This idea brought many new opportunistic faces to the table. Take Amir Ben Yohanan, for instance, the 48-year-old man who owned the media group behind the Clubhouse, whose apparently only known picture on the internet is this photo. The fuck? To quote Amir, you thought of TikTok as kids messing around and looked down on it. But
how did he secure all of those big TikTokers?
Were with the world, he decided he wanted to cash in
on
what
kids,
he saw
come
as
sign
a
with
modern
me.
day gold rush.
Swear to God,
he
I'm
would
not
later
Dan
have
Schneider.
allegations made against him, claiming he mistreated influencers as young as 15, screaming at them and making misogynistic comments. One member claimed in response to telling him that they felt overworked, he said, "You guys are probably on your period," which is so bad. Imagine you send your 15-year-old daughter out to LA to make it big, and suddenly she's being yelled at by a 48-year-old man named Amir Ben Yohanan. Again, only picture of him that exists on the internet for not making enough content. Fake. And actually, her being upset is because she has a vagina. Look, honey, we got a schedule to stay on top of, okay? You're not overworked or overstressed. You're probably just on your menstrual cycle.
Thanks, Resub Aman.
But the content cycle stops for nobody. Now make me some goddamn TikToks. I want to start a new internet trend called the Amir Challenge, where if you unjustly upset a woman this week, I want you to look her into the eyes and say, Did I really do something wrong, or is it just that time of the month again? And it should, I think, go over really well for you every time, I think. Now, while a
Probably
talent
pretty
agency
effective
is
strategy,
typically in the
honestly.
business of securing actors, musicians, and athletes, influencers have been the latest target client for them as of the last decade. Whereas for the other industries, these agencies have developed
Easy to get stepdaddy.
reputation, connections, and standardization of pay. That's not such the case with the creator economy. And when TikTokers were just starting to move to LA in 2020, a lot of these talent agents were looking to lock them into long-term contracts with unfair revenue shares for them. Luckily for Tyler, he realized that this was some bullshit.
She had sent us this crazy contract that I had my lawyer look over and that he had his lawyers look over, and he was like, holy, he was like, you're like signing your life away for like 2 years. It's like
and
a
then
locked
you
in,
signed,
thing.
baby.
I was like, yeah, I'm not touching that. She got like ownership to everything, like my Venmo account, my like everything. Yeah, like hefty contract, a hefty contract. And I think she made it so big because she's like, yeah, these kids probably aren't going to read through it.
Now, this is where we have to start to be a little careful because Ariana Jacob makes every one of her clients sign a non-disclosure agreement or an NDA when working with her. Even Tyler, though he didn't sign the individual talent contract he had just mentioned, did sign an NDA prohibiting discussing any business he has with Ari after the fact. And I want to make sure that we protect Tyler from any potential issues there. So everything we talk about going forward is alleged and from public record. I believe that covers our asses legally. Let's continue. So Ariana Jacob comes into the drip crib and basically gives this pitch. Sign this awful contract that makes you my property, sign this awful NDA that says you can't tell anyone about it, and then maybe I'll give you some brand deals if I'm in a good
Sign me
mood.
the fuck
If
up, let's
watching,
go.
a good mood is when a woman isn't on her period. Ariana Jacob had the same setup with two other creator houses her agency formed, being called The Girls in the Valley and The Kids Next Door. Both houses that failed within months, allegedly because Ariana did not supply enough brand deals for them to be able to cover rent. Sounds familiar. She would later blame the pandemic.
I don't know how you
for
can't
this,
get brand
even though
deals for
brands were paying a ton of
TikTokers.
money during the pandemic.
Brands
My
want that
guess
shit
is
so
that since
badly.
she was trying to sign as many influencers as possible, she started to neglect actually getting them brand deals that made them money. Whereas Davion Young was a case
As you
study
said,
on how incompetence of a manager
Isaiah,
can be the
and
downfall
Felix.
of a house, Ariana Jacob is a case study on how maliciousness of a talent agent can cause the same turmoil. In this article by the New York Times, they take quotes from a bevy of different influencer clients Ari had
As we
worked
said,
with in the
achievement.
past. And taking a look at this, we can get a clearer picture of the kind of client-agent
Oh,
relationship
fuck yeah.
she
Thanks
had
for the
with
fat
many of
raid.
these influencers. Brittany Broski, who went
Thank
mega
you, Botez
viral for her
sisters.
kombucha tasting TikTok, was approached by
Super
Ari,
sweet. I appreciate
allegedly
that.
DMing her, "Have you made any money?" I'll translate to malicious talent agency language. That means, how much of that shit can I take? Brittany ended up signing a contract with Ariana, and 9 months
you had a
later
great stream.
realized that she wasn't getting paid from any of her brand deals. She would go on to say that Ari was withholding some $23,000 in fees,
not
and
bad.
that she was even squatting on her domain BrittanyBroski.com.
What a good
One of the
name.
housemates in the Girls in the Valley house that Ari put together. Ari would show up at all times of the
Idris
night.
Joshua.
She'd come as late as 1 a.m. and she'd be texting us until 3 a.m. and show back up at 10 a.m. She'd
Wait, oh, hold on. Oh, well, if he's gonna go through the whole thing, I'll let him read it. The nice sultry tones from Gunner. Virtual squatting. Yeah, they're, it's a very common thing. People snatch up domains just so that way, like, when a company or business might need it, they have to pay that person for it. So it's been around since the beginning of the .coms. I guess I give some paleo. Someone squatted on the Moist Esports Twitter not long ago, if you guys remember that, and then tried to get a lot of money out of me for it, but I just didn't care enough, so I just said I'll just make a different one. And then he eventually just said, fuck, fine, sorry, I just wanted money. I'm a college student. I was like, that's fine, bro, here's $100. So now we have the official Moist Esports one.
She'd bring guests without her telling us. There was also apparently a security camera put in the kitchen that they did not consent to, connected to Ariana's phone. When the house ended, the girls did this to the walls on their way out, which...
Let me take a peek. Oh, that definitely violates their NDA. That was probably like rule number 1 of the NDA. You can't say anything mean about Ari. Come on now. And who is this? That's not Ari. She doesn't look like that. Grow up. Oh, what is this? If science speaks louder than word... Oh, wait, what? That definitely says science, right? If science speaks louder than words, I'm the most deafening noise you've heard. Silence! Oh,